Hey guys, Sean from Next Step Product Strategy here to review another product. And today what we're going to take a look at is the product DuckDuckGo. For those that are unfamiliar, DuckDuckGo is an internet search engine, not unlike that one of Google or Bing. So what differentiates DuckDuckGo from these other products? So DuckDuckGo has set out to solve a very specific problem as it pertains to user privacy. So whether you're familiar or not, Google, Bing, a number of these other search engines do a fair amount of tracking with regard to your search history. This enables them to do certain things like retarget you or show you ads of things that you've browsed elsewhere on the web. DuckDuckGo doesn't do these things, so they're differentiated in that way. And they solve a very specific problem that a number of users, and that number is growing, have a particular problem with. So to get a better idea on who DuckDuckGo is targeting their product at, and what problem they're trying to solve, we're going to take a closer look at the product. Okay, so here you can see we've pulled up the DuckDuckGo homepage. Now, here we see a very clean, very simple looking homepage, not unlike that one of Google, and that's done for a particular reason. DuckDuckGo wants to become as mainstream as possible, so comparing themselves against products that have been successful in this market before is important. Something we notice immediately, and something I want to talk about because I'm going to bring that up later again, is we got this robot widget here that pops up and it's asking me to add DuckDuckGo to Chrome. Now, I like their concept here, but I wonder whether or not this is a bit aggressive for them. Something else that we notice is above the fold, it looks very similar to what we've come to expect for a number of other search engines. And that's important from a user experience perspective. But we see we've got this arrow here and we can scroll down to see more about what they have listed on their homepage. And as we do that, they start to talk again specifically about the problem that they are choosing to solve. And that's about storing information and tracking you. So each one of these views that we see as we scroll further down the page talks about this in different ways. And they've got cartoons here to give you a better idea and just how spooky some of these things that these other companies may be doing. So they're clearly driving home the point that they don't do these things, and that's not what they're about. So they're making a very different experience for you. And as you can see, in each of these different views, there's a specific call to action button, and it all enables you to do the same thing, and that's adding DuckDuckGo to Chrome. So who is the DuckDuckGo product targeted at? So as we can see, based on the messaging they have on their homepage, their product is clearly targeted towards those that do not wish to have their history or their activity on the internet tracked. How does DuckDuckGo make money? So very similar to that of other search engines on the internet, they do so via ads and affiliate marketing. I'll show you an example of what that looks like. Now, specifically with DuckDuckGo and how they make money on ads is a bit different than that of Google and Bing and other search engines like that. They're not basing the ads they show you based on your previous search history. What they're basing it on is what you're specifically searching for. So you're only going to see an ad for a topic that you're already looking for. Just like that ghost looked like on their homepage, things aren't going to follow you around when you're using DuckDuckGo, as it may seemingly do so with your user experience using a product like Google search engine. So let's take a closer look at the user experience while using DuckDuckGo to compare it to some of the competition out there. So as we saw before, the DuckDuckGo homepage is very clean and simple looking, not unlike that of Google. If I remove my robot widget, you can see it becomes even simpler. If we take a closer look at the DuckDuckGo user experience, you can see that if I type in boxing, I get a number of suggested search results. So that's not too dissimilar from that of Google. So you're not going to lose that functionality if you're working with their product, and again, that's important. Let's say I want to search for something like boxing gloves. Come in here and I punch that in. Now I can see my search results, and in particular, I can see that I do have ads listed at the top of my site, but as I mentioned before, these are ads based on what I've specifically searched for. So that experience is a bit different. If I instead was searching for car engines or car parts, I may see that type of search result as I'm browsing other products like Google search engine if I've searched for those things before. So the user experience is quite different. What about potential missed targets for the DuckDuckGo product? Who may they be eliminating based on what they've created? So as we saw based on the homepage and its look and feel and branding, It's a little on the cartoonish side with a number of the graphics that they have to describe what the product is and how it works. Now, Google pushes this envelope as well too, but Google's pretty widely accepted in the enterprise at this point. I would be curious to know what the adoption rate of DuckDuckGo looks like in the enterprise, and whether or not some of the cartoonish elements are holding them back at all. Also, the robot widget, at least in my opinion, may be a little bit on the aggressive side. Those calls to actions are further down the page, and I know that's a first-time thing, but I'd be curious to know how many conversions they get from having that in the top right versus how many users are not coming back to the DuckDuckGo search engine because that may have scared them away. So if anybody from DuckDuckGo is watching this video, I'd love to get that feedback. Please let me know. So what's most important here is better understanding the specific problem the DuckDuckGo product is trying to solve. And it's very clear here, based on the user experience, what they are, how they are branded, the messaging that they are using, that they are targeting subset of the population that wants to use a search engine that doesn't track them, isn't following them around on the internet, and doesn't want to give them that form of creepy experience which leads them to believe that they're constantly being tracked. One important component to remember about what DuckDuckGo has done is they've started with a market that is large enough to the extent where if they niche down to a small percentage of users that are using search engines across the web, they can still be hugely successful because they started with a market that's large enough. So when you're working on your product and your product idea, keep this in mind. This is something that you should start out with early on so that you don't wind up having to niche down to a market that's not going to be large enough in order for your product to be successful. Thanks for watching our product review, guys. If you have any other questions about this product or would like to see us review any others, leave a note about it in the comments section below and we'll be sure to get to it. And until then, keep disrupting.